Okay, welcome to Assistive Technology for Sensory Difficulties. I am Laura Martinez. I am the Assistive Technology Program Manager at TASC.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Ortega, Assistive Technology Specialist at TASC. TASC is a nonprofit. We serve 6 counties in Southern California. We are a parent training and information center. Our mission is so we educate and empower people with disabilities and their families to become effective communicators and self-advocates. Our disclaimer is that TASC staff are not advocates or attorneys. We do not provide recommendations, legal advice, or suggestions. Our family support specialists offer peer-to-peer support, information, and options to parents of children with disabilities so they can become informed members of the IEP team and work collaboratively with schools. Services from our family support specialists. Our family support specialists help families understand the special education process by providing one-on-one phone consultations, virtual IEP consultations, and review of documentation, assistance with letter writing, and they offer a variety of educational webinars, support for military families, information, and resources. We offer 2 online support groups, which are Parent Connection and Restorative Connection. Both support groups are for parents only. Parent Connection is led by a TASC staff. It meets the 4th Tuesday of the month from 10 to 11 a.m. And Restorative Connection is led by a mental health professional. They meet twice a month on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. And within our tech center, we offer a variety of services. We do a variety of assistive technology webinars, individualized online lab appointments. Those are 1 hour long. If you're looking for specific apps, websites, information on software, or any information on assistive technology, you can contact either Laura or myself to schedule a lab appointment. And they are virtually through Zoom. We also offer assistive technology consultations in clinics. For our augmentative alternative communication services, we have Project Communicate, in which we offer a free 1-hour AAC consultation with a speech language pathologist. If you'd like more information on that free consultation, you can contact me. We have an online social and life skills group for ages 14 and above, which is Tech Connection. And we have a lot of information and resources on assistive technology. We have an assistive technology focused e-newsletter, Tech Tidbits from TASC. If you're not receiving it and would like to receive it, you can visit the link that's on the screen. Plug in your name and email address and you start receiving it the following month. And before Laura continues, just wanted to let you know that for everyone who's here today, you will receive a copy of the entire presentation after the webinar to the email address you used to register to today's webinar.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Liz. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get going. So a few things to consider when you're thinking about sensory. So some students or people are adversely affected by different environmental stimuli. And it can be something simple that others can easily filter out or ignore. For these students or these folks, it's really, really hard to filter out that information and concentrate on other things. And for some, there's hypersensitivity where it's just too much. And then there's hyposensitivity to stimuli, which is not enough. I need more sensory input. We're going to talk about a lot of those things today. So just some things to consider, things like visual clutter. So on your computer or your iPad, if there's just a bunch of different apps or a bunch of different things going on. If your child is working on a, say, a math worksheet and there's, 30 problems on there, sometimes it's hard to filter that out. A big one that's really hard is fluorescent lighting versus full spectrum lighting. And we'll talk about some things that might help with that. Filtering out classroom or background noise, different places can be difficult. Some people need that tactile stimulation, and we'll talk about and show you some things that might be helpful for that. Some people have trouble with their awareness of physical space or personal space. They invade that personal space without realizing. And then there are other individual specific sensitivities like smells and textures and things like that. So here's a graphic I found. It says, I have sensory processing disorder. Can be lots of different things, can be one or two of these things, can be all of these things, many other, but overly sensitive to loud sounds, trouble focusing, concentrating, poor fine motor skills, tough cutting, handwriting, poor gross motor skills. Some kids hate having their hair washed, brushed, cut, any of those things. Hate being tickled or cuddled. Others like that, So picky eaters, resisting new foods and textures. And then sometimes we can be unaware of normal touch and pain. Sometimes things are too hard or too soft, depending on the individual. So with sensory overload, basically it's overstimulation of one of the five senses, touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. Sensory overload can affect anyone, but commonly occurs with those on the autism spectrum, with PTSD or sensory processing disorder, but it can affect people with many other conditions. So here's a graphic I found, and I myself, full disclosure, have sensory processing issues, and this is how it feels sometimes when I'm out in public, or for some of our kiddos. It's just a lot going on. There's light bulbs flickering, and there's noises, or there's a strong scent, like a strong perfume or something. And all of these things are hard to filter out when you're trying to concentrate on whatever it is, whether you're sitting in a restaurant eating dinner, or sitting in a classroom, or trying to walk through a mall. All these different things can come into effect. So we're going to start with visual lighting sensory. So here are some the most common symptoms of fluorescent light sensitivity. So a headache, migraine, photophobia, eye pain and eye strain, blurry vision, anxiety, sleep trouble, lethargy, nausea, shortness of breath, or vertigo. So for some people, sitting under those fluorescent lights, which is what they have at school, it just makes everything amplified and worse. Other people, doesn't affect them at all. So here are some suggestions or some ideas of things that can be done. So on the left here, you see our fluorescent lights, and here on the bottom, I actually have these in my office, but these are basically shades that you can put up over the lights. They have magnets on the corners and on the sides, and it just makes the light not as harsh or bright. And we'll give you the resources after each section, so you know where to get everything. And then this is an example of a young man, and he has colored lenses. Some people have colored lenses, and that really helps filter and block out that light. So scotopic sensitivity, also known as Erlens Syndrome, is a light sensitivity. And what happens is you have an intolerance of light. It can be bright sunlight, fluorescent lights, glare. When you're driving at night, the headlights coming at you make your eyes really sensitive or cause you to see spots. All of this can cause anxiety. And for some people that are affected by this, simply changing the color of the background of what you're reading. So say if you have a bright white paper or white book, just putting a colored overlay or using a different colored piece of paper sometimes can make all the difference. So I'm going to show you the same text here, but in different colors. And think about for yourself, which color, and of course there are many colors, is easier for you to look at or read. So we have the white. We have the green. We have a gray. And we have kind of a sunflower yellow color. So for some people, different colors will make a huge difference. For others, it won't. So the best way to figure these things out is, of course, to try them. So here are some screen and light filters for when you're working on the computer, on your iPad. Again, here is the glare shade that I showed you the picture of that go over your lights in your school or in your office. They also have these acetate colored overlays that you can put over the lights that are helpful. And then again, on your iPad or on your computer, you can install screen filters, which are really helpful. I have one on mine. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm going to try it. Did that change color, Liz, or no?
No.
Okay. Good for me. You guys can't see it. So, and then I'll give you the resources for that again at the end of the section. So the green, Tiana says the green overlay was nice for her. Yeah, whatever makes it easier for you to read. Absolutely. So we're going to go on to reading tools. And again, these are just some examples. So we're going to show you the reading helper. These are simple. They're grayed out at the top and the bottom, and then the center line is see-through, but of course it's got the color overlay. And with those, sometimes it helps certain people with reading and not skipping lines. If you, when you're reading or your child is reading, you tend to skip lines, this helps you track and stay on that line. Colored overlays can be super helpful for different people, depending on if you're trying to read a whole page, you know, and you have that bright white background on the page or on the book. Different colored overlays can be lifesavers for your eyes and for your headaches. This one here is called a blue tracker, and it has the blue filter all around, and then it's clear. There's a clear line that helps with tracking there. And then finally here we have the slide reader. And this has a little piece of cardboard in it. And so as you're reading, you pull the cardboard to reveal each word, and that helps with tracking as well. So I put in resources for each section, depending on what you're looking for. So there's color filters, different places, different reading tools. If you're interested in Erlens syndrome or scotopic sensitivity, they have a simulation on their website that you can go through and take. And then TheraPro, Therapy Shop, all have great low-tech tools.
Laura,
Yes.
there's 2 questions. Question
Okay.
1.
Whoops, I was trying to open it. Oh, go ahead.
How do you find out if your child is sensitive to fluorescent lighting?
Excuse me. Well, you'll know. I mean, I knew with my child because the teacher said she was always fidgeting. She ended up getting headaches. She got super anxious while she was at school. Same thing with myself. If you want to take, if you're not sure, you can go on this Erlens website here, and there are questions. There's a questionnaire, excuse me, that you can go through and answer, and they'll kind of guide you and help you. And then there's different, you can go through and change the look of the website with different colors and see if it's easier. And sorry, the other question, can this be assessed during IEP evaluation process? That is a good question. I've seen it usually addressed when we're looking at assistive technology because that's what we do. But I would think, yeah, normally you would have an indicator whether or not your child has sensitivity issues. Sorry, there we go. So next is auditory processing and filtering out noise. This is tough sometimes. So I've heard over the years to seat the student near the teacher. But what happens sometimes is if they're sat up front, then they have to filter out all the noise behind them, all the kids chattering behind them. If they're seated near doors and windows, sometimes it's distracting. They hear what's going on out there. So it really depends on the child, and we'll show you some things that might help filter that out. And then using visual tools and images to reinforce lessons and concepts are great for someone with auditory processing. You're welcome, Tiana. Okay, so there are different auditory interventions, and of course we can include all of them, but I wanted to give you an idea. So there are things like assistive listening devices. This is a simple one called the Pocket Talker, but there are different ones. This one, you literally just wear headphones. The student wears headphones, and this right here is a microphone. You set it down on the desk, aim towards the teacher. And what it does is it amplifies that voice right into their ears and helps block out the other noise. There are more sophisticated ones where the teacher wears a microphone and such, and that of course would need to be assessed, you know, for each person individually. We're just trying to show you kind of what's out there. Another way to go is earplugs. If your child can tolerate them, or if you can tolerate them. Noise reducing headphones, they don't block everything out, but they do help calm a lot of the other noise, but you can still hear. And then tactile manipulatives might help with sustained attention depending on the person. I know a lot of people, if they have something in their hands and they're able to just fidget, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or play with it, it does sometimes help with just that focus.
Question.
Yeah.
Does a student with ADHD or ODD qualify for a device?
Well, there's no I mean, all of these things need to, you need to do an assistive technology evaluation through your school. So there's not really a qualification. It's just what helps your student. So it could be for anyone who needs it. So auditory intervention resources, I listed a bunch, but these are different links for assistive listening devices. This Diglo here has the one I showed you, the Pocket Talker. And then there's different headphones, earmuffs, earplugs, things like that. Fun and Function, TheraPro and Therapy Shop have a bunch of different things. So these things, before I keep going, the things that we're showing you, they're just low-tech items that might be helpful for kiddos or for persons with sensory processing issues or with sensory issues. And a lot of these things can be considered if that's an area where your kiddo is, needs attention. When you ask for your assistive technology evaluation, you're going to want to mention sensory. So low-tech sensory, we have boxes and boxes and boxes of low-tech sensory here at TASC. So these items can include fidgets, which I'll show you, some chewable items, seat cushions, weighted blankets or clothing, just really depends. So this girl here is biting on what's called jewelry. It's jewelry that's made specifically to chew on that does not damage your child's teeth. And then we'll show you, basically a cushion like this is meant for, it's really a balance disc for exercise, but we found that they work and they're a lot less expensive without that special needs label. All of a sudden the price goes up. You can blow them up however, with as much air as you want, put them in your student's seat, and then they have that sensory feedback when they move on their behind. So here's some different handheld fidgets, things like Tangle toys. We have a click fidget. These are, it just depends on the student what works. Koosh balls, different bendable or stretchy objects. Fidget pencils are nice if you have someone who just needs to fidget a little bit, put it right on the end of your pencil and you have a built-in fidget there. Therapy putty, there's all kinds of neat putty, and I'll show you a couple of websites where you can get it. This is Crazy Erin's Thinking Putty, and we have several tins, different kinds of this. What's neat about this particular putty is it comes in different strengths, so it's harder, easier to squish, and they have different ones that as you squeeze them, the warmth of your hands changes the color of the putty, which is kind of neat. Here we have the desk buddy. It just looks like a ruler. It's rubber, and you can just put it on the desk. And for those kids or people that like to just feel textures, they can just run their hands along it. Here we have the Fidget Pod. It's a good size, it sits on your desk. It's sort of, it's not suction cuppy, but sort of non-slip, and you can just squeeze or press down and feel that bumpy feedback. They also make fidget rings for older students or adults. I have one. They have them in all different styles, but you just put it on like a ring and you just move your finger, and the inside, or depending on how it's made, just moves back and forth. And then, of course, good old fidget spinners. I know the big thing right now is those click pop things. I don't know if you've seen those, but I have. Every time I see a new kind, I get them. They're just little, sort of like the old popping a bubble, but you just press it in and then flip it over and press it again. Those are really nice as well. So sand, dough, and slime, oh my. So some children or people with sensory processing disorder have sensory tactile defensiveness, and sometimes this impedes their activities, you know, that they need to do every day. So if they're in OT or working on different activities to decrease that defensiveness, these are some fun ways to do that. So we have different kinds of slime, some that are like foam. Floof is awesome. And then kinetic sand, if you don't have, I'm sure you've seen kinetic sand, but if you haven't, I'm going to click on the website so you can just watch. It's just got the most awesome texture, and it's just so satisfying to look at and to play with. And then there's different places that just have all kinds of cool slime supplies, different kinds of putty. So I will caution, if you have a child that eats things, you don't want to get, you know, you need to be careful with non-toxic and things that don't necessarily smell like they would taste good if you have someone that likes to eat. Chewable items. So some people, for that sensory feedback, they like to bite, chew on clothing, collars, you know, their shirt collars, the end of their long sleeves. Unfortunately, I have kiddos that bite themselves. So for that chewing or biting that they need, there are different tools that are made specifically for that. So these are called bite bands. They just go over your wrist, and that's what they're exactly meant to do. Or you can just hold them and bite on them, and they don't damage your teeth. Again, we have that jewelry like I showed you earlier with the little girl. These are different kinds. They have little pendants. Ones, you know, there's an Oreo. They have different ones that you can go on, that you can get, whereas a necklace, depending on what you're looking for. The chewable pencil toppers are neat because they can just go right on any pencil, and they're meant to be chewed on without, again, damaging those teeth. This is a chewable wristband. It's like a cuff you can put on. And again, that can be bitten or chewed on and can save your wrist if you have a kiddo, or their wrist if you have a kiddo that's a biter. And then finally, there's chewy tubes, and there's all different shapes and different ones that you can buy depending on what you're looking for. And we do have the resources there. Sorry, there's a question. Let's see. Oh, good, Carol, good. Melissa says, what's the best way to introduce items? Sorry, I cannot speak. Introduce items such as slime to children who do not tolerate it well. I would say that you would probably want to address that with your OT. They probably have some good ideas. And here are tons of fidget resources. ARC Therapeutic has a lot of the chewable items. All of these places have some great. Stimtastic is awesome. There is one thing I wanted to point out. There's an online fidget spinner in case you need one. And you can just, sometimes that helps with sensory. Can stop it, and then if you click buy a spinner, it takes you to Amazon, and there's all kinds of cool fidget spinners. Okay, the resources they're right here. So after each section, I'm going to show you the resources for each section. and the chewy tubes are at ARC Therapeutic. So miscellaneous sensory stimulation. So all of these things can be very helpful for decreasing fidgeting and increasing that body awareness. Might include things like weighted clothing, tactile objects, vibrating toys, different textures. Here we have a weighted vest. They have so many other products now, and I do have resources for you. Weighted toys, toys with sand or weighted, something weighted inside, just across your lap or around your neck, sometimes is helpful. These are little vibrating toys. You pull the string and hold them and feel that vibration if that's something that's helpful for your child. These fidget bands for your feet, they go on the desk, the legs of the desk. And working in schools for many years and seeing the kids swinging their feet, maybe doing it myself, they're looking for some sort of input. And so these bands are made to put your feet on, and you can bounce. You could just bounce your feet up and down, or just have a place to put those. And then weighted lap pads and things with textures. Some of these places that make the weighted lap pads, you can attach, I don't know if you can see here, you can attach different fidgets to them and different textures. Alternative seating. This is really important. So I don't know how many of you have to sit in an office chair all day, but it's really hard. I end up starting to fidget, my back hurts, my legs hurt, I have to get up and move around. And a lot of classrooms don't allow that. They should, but they don't. So alternative seating is a great option. Again, you can look at, talk to your OT if you have one, or just investigate them yourself. But simple things like those balance cushions I pointed out, just to put in your chair for that sensory feedback. They have one that's a wedge that you sit on, and it just adjusts your posture just enough, but still has that bumpy feedback. Or not a regular chair at all. Maybe you want to sit on the floor on a disc or on a bean bag, or just different types of alternative seating. They have all these, the balls, the yoga ball chairs. Those are really nice because you can move around. It helps build core for your child. It just depends on your classroom setup. Wobble seats, this gray bench here. It's just a bench, but you can move around. Lots of different choices. Some of the yoga balls have actual legs on them. So I would just encourage you to explore that if you have someone that really has trouble sitting. Olfactory and scented items. So for a lot of years in many workshops, so before COVID, before we did everything in webinars, we of course passed all this stuff around for everyone to try out. And I can't tell you how many times somebody asked me or said, do you have anything that smells bad that my child can smell while they're at school? Had several kids that like the smell of shoes. Well, we're not going to take off our shoe and smell it at school. So I'm going to show you some things that smell bad and some things that smell good. So I'm going to start with these scratch and sniff stickers. Some of us remember they were the craze, at least when I was young, and they have them in all different scents. And I'm going to take you to a website and show you in a minute. But they have fruit flavors and dessert flavors and you know, bubble gum and you name it, just all these great smells. But they also have smells like poop and garbage and feet and things like that. So depending on what your you or your kiddo like, they have all kinds of interesting ones. Smencils is something we've used for a while. They're pencils that are scented. I don't know if you've seen them. They usually come in a tube that holds in that scent, but they have different, I almost said flavors, do not eat them. They have different scents like grape and cherry and cinnamon and root beer. And they just write like regular pencils, but they have that aroma that's sometimes we seek. Again, there are scented markers. I'm sure you've seen those. They have scented erasers and scented putty. Here at the bottom, we have several of these. We bought several of these. What it is, you open it up and they're all different drink flavors: fruit punch, root beer, cola, I think orange soda. You open it up and it's a little rectangle, and that rectangle is an eraser, a scented eraser, but you can also squish it and it turns into putty, but it still is that eraser. That's great, easy thing that you can have there, something to fidget with, and then it also has that nice smell. Talked about Crazy Errands earlier. They have some wonderful sensory putty. Again, have to match the technology or the fidget to the user. You know, don't want somebody that's going to eat this, but people that enjoy that aroma, or if they have a calming scent, it's a nice way to do it. Aromatherapy, inhalers, diffusers. I don't know if some of you use those in your house. This stress ease inhaler here, they have different ones called scent buddies, and they have them to help wake up. They have lavender ones to help calm down. You don't put it in your nose, you just take the cap off and kind of wave it. They have cute little scented plush toys. Hand sanitizer. There's all kinds of scented hand sanitizers. Sometimes, I mean, especially right now, hand sanitizer is the way to go. Sometimes if you have a scent that's, or your child has a scent that's calming to them, or they really like, just putting on that hand sanitizer and the scent is really helpful. Also, scented chapstick or lip balm be a good way to go. So I put in some different sensory resources. Some of these are great. They have a place called Everything Smells. So here's Scratch and Sniff stickers, cereal. This one smells like roller skates. They just have all kinds of different things and they're all scented. Stink Factory have Scratch and Sniff everything. They have bundles for teachers or parents. And again, just different flavors. They have their Halloween flavors out now, or scents. You know, different candies, but then they also have things like bologna and chili. And then I know when we go down further, they have grandma and grandpa smell. I have no idea what that is. They have garbage, French fries, watermelon. So just wanted you to be aware of that resource. So those are our olfactory items. I wanted to throw in here before we move along some DIY sensory resources. Liz and I have had occasion here at Task during different activities to make some of these. This one here at the bottom is a fidget tool, and it's basically it's just a popsicle stick, a chenille stem or pipe cleaner, and beads, and it turns into just a simple fidget. And then we've made these, and they're baggies filled with gel. We use the little Orbeez. I don't know if you've seen those. You put them in water. They're beads you put in water and they plump up. We put those in the gel and some glitter. Make sure we seal them off good, and nice sensory toys. So I have just some different DIY type sensory resources for you. We okay on questions?
Yes.
Okay. So sensory friendly clothing. I know this isn't really assistive technology, but I get asked about it. So I thought, why not put it in the sensory webinar? So for many of our kids on the spectrum or with sensory issues, certain things drive us nuts. Things like the seam in your sock, if it's in the wrong place and it's grating, like wearing on your toe all day, or the tags that are in your shirt scratching you and bothering you, things like that. For people with sensory issues, this is sometimes so bothersome that you cannot concentrate on anything else. So I wanted to give you some resources for different clothing. Bombas has some great socks. They have different places that sell tag-free clothing, or just sensory friendly clothes. Also, if you're a Target shopper and you go on their website and you just search sensory friendly clothes, they do have quite a few things that pop up. And then at the bottom, Zazzle, this is tagless clothing, which can be really, really helpful. Okay, so we're going to go on to, I'm going to show you just a few sensory apps that we have found to be helpful. And let's hope my iPad is cooperating. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yay, we're good. I'm in. Okay, one moment. Talk amongst yourselves. My iPad behaves beautifully, but not in front of people. All right, just in the interest of time, I'm going to go out of there. Okay, here we go. All right. So some different sensory apps. There's two multi-sensory apps that I want to show you, both made for iOS only. The first one is Gravitarium, and it's free. And then the second one is called HeatPad, and it's free. And then they have an in-app purchase to upgrade to unlock other items, which I'll show you what that looks like. So first we have Gravitarium. Goodness. We have Gravitarium. And with Gravitarium, okay, I wanted to turn off the sound. With Gravitarium, you can, depending on how many fingers you use on the screen, it totally changes. So I'm going to use one finger. and move it around. And again, you can turn music on if you want to. I just turned it off so I can talk. I'll show you 2 fingers, totally different pattern. 3, again, different pattern. 4. So it changes. That's 5, 6. Those circles are my fingers. Again, so 7, 8. So all kinds of different, that's 9. And then 10. So Gravitarium is just a nice sensory app, and there are options, and you can play with it, and you can change the colors and how fast things move and whether or not they have a tail when you move. When you move your finger, there are all different things you can put, turn on and off. And then again, of course, you can turn on and off the music. So that's Gravitarium. The next one is called Heat Pad. And Heat Pad is really simple. Wherever you touch, you get, so that's just my fingers, you get a heat signature. And at the bottom here, there's sound. You can turn on and off. You can adjust a lot of different things. So if I change the inertia, it's just how long the trail lasts. Again, there's all different colors. Depending on the user. It's just calming, depending on what you like. For $1.99, you can remove the ads that pop up every once in a while. Okay, so that's Heat Pad and Gravitarium. The next one is called Breathe, Think, Do. And this is a Sesame Street app. And it works on calming techniques through breathing, but it also works with thinking about different things. It's super helpful. It's free. It's available on iOS and Google Play. I'll give you a little sample there. Oh, I turned down the volume because the other one was loud. Sorry. Hang on just a second. I turned my volume down.
He's feeling frustrated because he tried and tried to put on his shoes, but he just couldn't do it. Tap on the monster's belly to help him put his hands on it.
I want to go back to the beginning. Sorry.
Choose an activity.
So at the top here, you can do English or Spanish.
Vamos, toca una de estas.
Drag and lower left corner. Okay. Why is it not working? Okay. If you go into the parents section, there's different tips and strategies in here. for different things like persistence, independence, mean or aggressive behavior, sibling rivalry, just helpful tips, which I thought was nice. There's also instructions on what to do for each thing.
Choose an activity.
So anyway, lots of good tips in there. You can just pick an activity.
Look, this monster is frowning and his shoulders are all scrunched up. He's feeling frustrated because he tried and tried to put on his shoes, but he just couldn't do it. Tap on the monster's belly to help him put his hands on it. Tap slowly on his belly. Look, the monster is calming down. Yes, he looks much calmer. Great job! You helped the monster take 3 slow breaths to calm down. Now, he's ready to think about a plan for how to get his shoes on. Pop the bubbles to tell the monster helpful things, and think of some plans. Think, think, think! Keep thinking of a plan. You're almost there. You helped the monster to think of a plan. Watch how his sister puts on her shoes so he can remember how to do it himself.
So that's one idea. Watch his sister.
Think of a plan. Keep thinking. You've almost got a plan. Look, the monster has an idea. Put on one shoe at a time to make it a little easier.
There's a plan.
Put on your thinking cap. Think a little bit more. You've almost thought of a plan. You helped the monster to think of a plan. Ask a grown-up to help him put on his shoes. Let's listen again to the plans the monster thought of to solve his problem. Watch how the monster's sister puts on her shoes. Put one shoe on at a time. Ask a grown-up for help. To choose a plan, tap on it. He asked his mommy to help him, and now he can put on his shoes. The monster was frustrated, and you helped him feel better. Now the monster looks happy. When you feel frustrated...
Okay, just wanted to give you an idea of that. The next app that I want to share with you is called Chill Out. It's got 5 different stories, and each is designed to teach children different mindfulness techniques. What I like about it is there's no ads, there's no in-app purchases, none of that. It's $4.99 and you have it for life. So when you open Chill Outs, if you click on parent info, it'll tell you what each character focuses on. So with Buzzy Bee, it teaches children how to calm down through humming. Panicky Penguin teaches children how to overcome panic through focused breathing. The Timid Turtle teaches children to overcome anxiety through shrugging. The Noisy Alien teaches kiddos how to be okay in unfamiliar situations through body relaxation. And then Sleepy Bear gets children ready for bed through that breathing. So I think I'm going to show you the turtle today. Uh-oh, you guys don't have sound. Hang on. I apologize. Let me try that again. Let's try that again. I have no sound. Stop and then reshare with you. Sound always gets to the iPad and then Zoom has issues. I apologize.
When you feel scared and tense like Tucker the turtle, you can learn to shrug your fears away. I want to learn how to relax and overcome my fear.
Hey Tucker, you can shrug your fears away.
How do I do that?
Watch me.
Breathe in through your nose, pull your shoulders up to your ears. Hold your body tight and still. Breathe out, drop your shoulders down. Okay, let's try it together. I breathe in and pull my shoulders up to my ears. Hold your body tight and still. Then I let my breath out and drop my shoulders down. I can do it!
Excellent. Let's shrug faster to the music. Hold your body tight and still.
Come on, Liz.
I'm feeling better already. Shrugging helps me focus and feel relaxed. I'm okay.
Sorry. So that's chill outs. Next is Sensory Fish. It's really a simple app. There's a free or $1.99 full version, and it can be used with any age, and it's just visually and auditorily stimulating depending on what you have turned on or off, and it's available on iOS or Google Play. I have the full version, but the free version just gives you less options. So you can choose your background, how many fish you want, and then what effects you want. So do you want stars or fireworks or bubbles? So basically anywhere that you put your finger, the fish will go to. If you want to change, you can have stars instead of bubbles. Stars have different noises. And there's also fireworks. So that's it. So you can basically just change what your background looks like. Oh, when you go in, you can add, oops. When you go in, you can add which fish you like. So you can turn on and off whatever you want and change your fishies. So that's just the Sensory Fish app. And then one final app, and then we'll go back, is called Draw with Stars. It's a free app. There's no ads. It is a take on Van Gogh's Starry Night. And there's 4 different play modes. So starts out with just a starry background. And wherever you put your finger, you have stars. You can go in and here are all the things that you can change. So you can have smaller stars, larger stars, different colors, all one color, depending on what you want, which way they spin, or don't spin at all. You can take a snapshot and have that be your background image, or you can go to your camera roll and put in whatever background you want. And then just a fun, relaxing little ad called Draw with Stars. Okay, let's go back to our screen. There we go. So a couple other sensory apps I wanted to mention. The Calm app is a really nice, simple app that you can use for older students. Fluid is nice, as is Mindshift. Sensory App House basically has a list of tons of different sensory apps. And then Sensory Room is a switch accessible sensory app. Okay, a couple sensory websites I wanted to make you aware of. This online sensory timer website. I use it a lot, especially in our social skills group. But if you go to the website, it's free. They do have ads, but there are all kinds of different timers that you can set for a variety of different times, as little as, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, all the way up. So there are different liquid and bubble timers, rings, circles, different bars. There's the gas gauge. Just depends on what you're looking for, what works for your child. Do an arc. And then you can choose how long. I'm going to do 30 seconds. And this is just a visual countdown timer. And maybe all we're doing during this time is breathing. Or maybe this is our time that we're going to be able to do just nothing. Just a simple countdown. That visual representation of time. Again, you can turn the sound on or off depending on what you want to work on. And then this Silk Generative Art, there's a website, there's also an app. I prefer the website because there's more colors and things to do, but this is kind of a fun free website. And all you do is move your mouse. You have to click and move your mouse. You can change or add colors. Again, there is an app. And then you can turn different things on and go from there. So that's Silk Generative Art. So that is it. We can answer questions if you have questions. But in the meantime, I do want to ask you to fill out our evaluation form if you wouldn't mind. Please put in your email address so that when we do our monthly drawings for a gift card, you can be included in that. That's how we know to contact you, because our Survey Monkey is separate from our login there. And if there's a question that doesn't apply to this workshop, please make sure you mark NA. In the meantime, I'll go back to that. But this is our contact info. Again, I'm Laura, and we have Liz here, Elizabeth. And if you have questions regarding specific technology, apps, websites, you know, just whatever it is that you're looking for, feel free to email us and we'll try to help you out. We can always set up a, in case you missed the beginning, we can always set up a virtual lab appointment. And then Liz, do you want to repeat the handouts?
I will email the handouts in approximately 30 minutes to the email address you used to register for today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. This is a topic really close to my heart.